We see them nearly every day, but seldom do we know their stories. On the surface, they're tired, broken down old buildings whose usefulness has long since passed. But look closer. Peer into the shattered glass. Walk the weed-grown pathways. Feel the decayed wood. You begin to get a sense of history, a sense of place. Every day, more and more of these sites vanish from the landscape. Without them, the story of Colorado's past becomes incomplete. Saving those that remain is crucial to preserving our state's rich history. These are Colorado's most endangered places. Hello, and welcome to Colorado's most endangered places. I'm Dave Aguilera. We're here today at the Hutchinson Homestead in Salida, Colorado. This ranch was established in 1868 by Joseph Hutchinson and Annabelle McPherson. The original homestead site has been restored as a museum showcasing early ranching history in the Arkansas Valley. It didn't always look this good. 20 years ago, the homestead site was in dire need of help. It was listed on Colorado Preservation Incorporated's most endangered list in 2003. CPI publishes this annual list to call attention to historic sites in our state which are in danger of being lost. That listing helped preservationists get grants and other resources necessary to restore the site to what you see around me now. 10 years after being listed, the Hutchinson Homestead opened to the public. We're going to take a look at the 4 sites which made the list this year. As settlers moved west, they brought their religious faith with them. Churches were often among the first buildings in the community which sprung up. As some of these communities faded away, the church was then often the last building standing. Our first site is one such church, the Antelope Springs Methodist Church.
Schneider Fire Department, County Road G, George, Highway 71.
It was surreal.
We had an RP state that the Antelope Springs Church is on fire.
I couldn't believe that someone would set it on fire. It's the little church that sits on the corner, you know. I look out the window every morning and see it.
Renee Ozer lives next to the Antelope Springs Church. She's also a volunteer firefighter and was the first to respond.
We've got a big fire in the main room, and it's spreading.
Told them what was going on, asked that the New Raymer Fire Department also respond with more water and help, and we fought a fire for a couple, 3 hours. Our command that day, he was in favor of letting it just burn down, but I asked him, you know, let's fight it because it is important to our community.
When the smoke cleared, the church remained standing. Those in the community felt blessed.
I don't know why it's not all burnt into ashes in the basement.
It's standing for a reason. We weren't sure what it was, but I mean, everything, there were just some little miracles that happened all along the way that was still here. So, this is the foyer.
Sharon Wooliver has passed through these doors many times.
I would come here for the special occasions, and I knew and loved all of these people that went here.
Her family now owns the church and has been working to preserve the site for years.
It saddens me that the fire happened, but we were wanting to do this even before that.
The Antelope Springs Methodist Church is the last standing remnant of the rural community of Antelope Springs.
There was a post office up that road, and there was a school. There was a lot of people living here.
Residents of Antelope Springs began planning their church in 1910. They spent the next few years helping each other harvest crops and volunteering their labor in order to build the structure.
I think it was in 1915 when they actually were organized and into the Methodist Church Conference.
When I was little, there were 7 of us kids that went to church here.
Tony Carlson's grandfather built the church. His family has deep ties to the building.
My uncle was a Sunday school superintendent, but my dad led the song service before the message. It was not only just our church, it was our social gathering. So getting together on Sunday morning and letting God tell you what to do and then talking to your neighbors, that was just what we did.
When I took over, it was a very, very small church. We had a membership of 3.
Spencer Green pastored here for nearly 20 years. leaving when the church closed in 1999.
The Antelope Springs Church holds fond memories. There was an oil stove which produced a certain odor.
He cherishes the rural congregations he served.
You really get to know each other, and you're in community with each other. And so there's real relationships built in the church, not just, hey, hi, how are you?
The tragedy of the fire seems to have rekindled those deep-rooted relationships.
It was all over, and people who've moved away from here 20 or 30 years ago, they were still, they were wanting to know what happened.
They wanted to know if there was anything they could help with.
Sharon can't help but be a bit inspired by what many see as divine providence.
Okay, too many things are falling in place for us to drop the ball now.
We would have a formal service.
As Spencer wanders around the sanctuary, he recalls the words to a favorite hymn sang often during the services here.
My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness.
He says hope and faith should guide his former flock as they look to rebuild the church.
In many respects, our faith is of things not yet seen. And I think that's a piece for this church's future.
When we come back, we'll head to the Continental Divide, where relics of another long-vanished town hope to inspire those enjoying the great outdoors. Later, we head to Southwest Colorado to learn what a boarding school can teach us about the importance of preserving cultural heritage. Welcome back to Colorado's most endangered places. I'm Dave Aguilera. You know, it didn't matter if you were on a ranch or wherever, life in the 19th century was hard work. Few machines meant lots of tiresome manual labor. When the workday ended, folks needed ways to relax and unwind. 120 years later, that has not changed. Folks still need to shake off the stress of the day. The owners of our next site hope that their movie theater can once again provide that needed respite from the real world.
So Victor's on the map because of gold mining, basically.
Gold mining's influence in Victor can be seen everywhere.
The peak of gold mining here was from about 1891 to about 1913.
The Lowell Thomas Museum in Victor showcases the men and machines who sought their fortunes in the nearby mines.
I've heard as many as 60,000 people used to live in the mining district between Cripple Creek and Victor.
That made for busy streets in downtown Victor.
There would be a lot of miners coming and going, a lot of burro pack trains. We had at one time 3 roads coming and going from town. You can imagine all the hustle and bustle from the mining activity.
When the workday ended, those miners and everyone else needed places to relax.
There were a lot of gambling halls and saloons, theaters.
One theater still stands, though it's been dark for decades.
We're in Victor, Colorado at the Isis Theater.
Dan Whitmore is the caretaker of the theater.
It was originally built in 1896. It was the Union Theater of Varieties.
Inside the theater lies a time capsule to the golden age of entertainment.
Old programs. They're just stuck on the wall.
The theater changed from doing live shows to movies in 1931.
Everything that a movie theater needed in 1931 is still here, including the player piano from the silent movie era. They're a little sketchy, but they'll hold you up.
Upstairs, a pair of carbon arc projectors stand ready to light up the screen.
The Super Simplex motion picture projectors built by Thomas Edison. There's 2 projectors because there's 2 reels of film on a folding picture. So there's a little bell there that signals the projectionist when to start the other projector. No, I haven't tried to fire them up. I'm afraid of burning the town down again.
Dan has always had a soft spot for old theaters.
I fell in love with the building when I first saw it about 15 years ago, just walking around through Victor. Switch is the main power. You can imagine the sparks it threw off.
Today, he's working to restore it.
My partner Cynthia actually is the one that purchased the theater and got me going on it. It's become my passion. I want to see her back in her original splendor.
That's not an easy task on a 120-year-old building.
When you get into a project like this, the deeper you dig, The more problems you see, the more damage you see, the more costs you're going to have to come up with to pay for the repairs. It gets really discouraging.
Dan says the community support has kept him going.
This is the concession area. The first time we opened the doors to the public, people were like amazed and awed, and they were like, I've wanted to come in here for so long. Thank you so much for buying it. Thank you so much for fixing it up. It just filled my heart and reinvigorated me and re-inspired me. A total of 5 rolls of film.
He wants the theater to regain its role as the centerpiece of Victor's entertainment.
Other than the newspaper, this is how they got their news, and this is how they got their entertainment. This theater is a big part of the history of the town.
History, along with mining, is Victor's stock and trade. City officials welcome any development which keeps their history alive.
It preserves our authenticity as a community. It ensures that what people think of as a historic mining town is what they get when they get here.
The more you have for people to do and see, when they get here, the more apt they are to come here and then to stay here longer. And so I think the theater is huge.
Everything's been out of pocket. We're hoping to get the grant money flowing.
Dan Whitmore has big plans for the ISIS.
We'd like to eventually have motion pictures as well as live theater and dinner theater here. We have over 300 seats. There's only 400 people left in Victor, Colorado right now, so we probably won't need that many seats.
But it's still going to be a long road before the curtain can rise again on the ISIS Theater.
It hasn't always been easy, but it's always been fun.
For many Coloradans, rest and recreation means getting outdoors. When we're out wandering the woods, it's not uncommon to stumble across old buildings and wonder what they were used for. Our next site fits that bill. A group of 5 cabins in the James Peak Wilderness.
It's close to home. That's just beautiful.
Visitors to the James Peak Wilderness see these cabins on every visit.
And that kind of gives it a little personality in this area.
Few know why the cabins were built there.
I don't know much about them. They've been here in the 25 years that we've been coming up this way. And yeah, it'd be nice if there were some maybe historical signs up to kind of, tell the story about them.
This is a little worse than the last time I was here.
Even historians found themselves looking for answers.
Their isolation and also the fact that there were 5 of them together, you knew there was some purpose here. I thought maybe they were Forest Service buildings.
The biggest clue to their origins lies just a few yards away. The Moffett Tunnel. It's named for David Moffett, a Denver rail baron. In 1904, he built a railroad up and over the Continental Divide.
Basically 23 miles of track that made all sorts of circles around lakes and trestles hanging from 1,000-foot drop-offs.
Snow quickly proved to be a huge problem.
They were basically blowing their budget on snow removal and snow mitigation. They built massive snow sheds over the rails, just trying to help any way they can to limit the amount of snow that was blocking those trains.
The solution was obvious: tunnel under the Continental Divide.
He got that idea right away. It was just a problem of funding.
David Moffett would die before the funding for his tunnel was approved, but construction on the Moffett Tunnel began in 1923. Building the tunnel required 1,600 workers. The contractor built a temporary company town called East Portal to house them all.
And here at the town site, they had everything from a doctor that was on staff full-time with x-ray capabilities to a movie theater where a screening of a film was just 35 cents. Camaraderie was quite high, and I think that was because of how this town was set up. Is meant to basically be an isolated island, but yet they had everything they needed here.
The first train rolled through the Moffett Tunnel in February of 1928. Before those first train whistles faded, workers began dismantling the town board by board, all except for these 5 cabins.
The people that lived in the cabins were the supervisory personnel.
The railroad kept these 5 cabins for tunnel maintenance workers. They moved out in the early 2000s, leaving these buildings to battle the elements.
Not sure how many more winters these buildings can take.
The harsh winter climate is only half of the threat. The increased popularity of the James Peak Wilderness area brings with it an increase in vandalism.
They think no one cares, so education, I think, would do a great deal for saving these buildings.
The buildings tell a story greater than the graffiti on the walls.
Because I think it's the stories of the everyday people that really make Colorado what it is.
Gilpin County wants to purchase the buildings from the railroad.
They tie it directly to the construction of the Moffett Tunnel and of the entire railroad corridor that runs through northern Gilpin County. That was, an important part of our county's history.
Acquiring them is only the first step.
And it's a small county, and the budget, it's going to be tough for us to budget for these buildings to do the work that's going to be needed. The other issue is going to be finding a new use for those buildings.
The county hopes to tap into the appeal of the great outdoors.
The nexus of recreation and history, I think, is just an extra added educational piece for people when they come to recreate, to have the ability to understand who came before and the importance of that.
Visitors like the idea of mixing history with outdoor recreation.
For each generation after us that's going to come up and enjoy this area, it'd be nice to keep the history of the area going.
When we return, the fight to save cultural heritage in our states takes an ironic twist. How some Native Americans hope to use buildings once used to suppress their culture as a means to preserve it. Welcome back to Colorado's Most Endangered Places. I'm Dave Aguilera. The Hutchinson family, who homesteaded here, were part of a steady stream of Europeans who came to Colorado territory beginning in the mid-1800s. While history has a tendency to romanticize the westward migration with tales of heroism and endurance, it was not without its dark side. As the Europeans moved west, they pushed the indigenous population off of the land they had occupied for hundreds of years. This sparked conflicts as Native Americans fought to keep their way of life. Our last site is a relic of that struggle.
Our culture to us is important because it identifies us who we are.
Ignacio Colorado lies in the heart of the Southern Ute Reservation.
Our language, our culture, our tradition.
The tradition is proudly displayed throughout the town, outside,
One open space,
and in.
We call this, in our language, tikakan, a place where you eat.
Alden Naranjo ate many meals inside this school dining hall.
It has fed a lot of students, Navajo, Ute, Apaches.
This dining hall is one of 3 buildings which remain from the Ute boarding school built by the U.S. government in 1901. The other 2 buildings include the girls' dormitory and the main school and gymnasium building. The boarding school's purpose?
They wanted to take the Indian out of the child and put him into the mainstream society.
The boarding schools kept children on campus, preventing them from learning the tribal ways of their elders.
They were forbidden to go home. All their hair was cut. They were given kind of like uniforms. They were also forbidden to speak their language. In a way saying, we're taking your identity away from you. You're going to be like me. I want to teach you how to be like me.
Tribal members call it a cultural ethnocide that their youth need to understand and never forget.
And they don't know the atrocities about, the sayings that were there in the newspapers that we all saw. Utes must go. Manifest destiny was going on. People were moving this way. We were getting pushed out. I don't want to be assimilated. I don't want my grandkids. I don't want our people to become somebody that doesn't have an identity.
That fierce loyalty to culture ultimately proved too much for the strict practices at the government schools.
That practice changed in the late 40s where the students were allowed to speak their language and also attend their cultural ceremonies.
We were told not to be Native, but I didn't get that message.
Linda Baker lived in the girls' dormitory in the 1970s. By then, the school itself had become a community preschool, and students living in the dorms attended public schools in Ignacio.
And when I came here to the dorm, there were fluent Navajo speakers here, there were fluent Apache speakers here, there were fluent Ute speakers here.
The campus, originally built to assimilate Native Americans into mainstream America, became an incubator for students to reconnect with their tribal past.
It was very important to come back here and realize who you were, who your relatives were, what made you unique as a Southern Ute. That formed my identity for the rest of my life.
The 3 remaining buildings from the boarding school now sit mostly vacant, leaving tribal leaders with a familiar question: what to do with the old, unused buildings?
We ourselves are not decision makers, but we can present our case to tribal council for them to make their own educated determination on what direction we should go.
It's going to cost us money to demolish it. It's going to cost us money to keep it going. What's the savings? How can we save it? You know, how much money are we going to actually put into this building to keep it going? What are we going to use it for?
Those fighting for the building's future say the buildings represent more than just a dark time in the tribe's history.
Most often when we think back about this time, it is the atrocities that took place, but it also reflects the nature of our ancestors fighting to preserve what they could.
It's ironic that, you know, the school was built to take away the Indian out of the children, but now the historical parts of the buildings that's left, it gives us a story.
After how many hundreds of years, we're still here. We're not going to be Anglo when we pass away, we're still going to be Ute.
Over the past 23 years, 127 sites have been named to Colorado Preservation's Most Endangered Places list. Of those, 47 have been saved, continuing to tell their part of Colorado's history. Only 7 have been lost. Saving Colorado's history does much more than just restore old buildings. Saving our history allows us to learn about the everyday Coloradans who came before us, whose struggles and triumphs shaped the state we live in today. It preserves the cultural richness and diversity which defines who we are. Perhaps most importantly, it gives us a venue through which we can pass that appreciation on to future generations. I'm Dave Aguilera. Thank you for watching.